Sniper's Hide here. We're at the Nightforce product release event at Core Shooting Solutions down here in Baker, Florida. And one of the products that they're releasing that I can talk about right now is the 4-16 by 50. Now this is an update of the 4-16 by 42 ATACR. This one happens to be a second focal plane scope versus the front focal plane of the 42. Same great features, zero stop MRADs, but a second focal plane scope with a 50mm objective. This is especially nice for the LE people out there who are still using second focal plane. You have those guys are wanting to be able to see the reticle under a variety of conditions, even when they're dialed down, and the 4-16 is geared towards that market. I also think the tactical guys can still shoot comps with a 16 power scope and not have to worry about dialing it down for things like movers. 16's a nice middle ground for a lot of these events. So here is the Nightforce 4-16 by 50 second focal plane ATACR, and it's being released right now by Nightforce.
When we're building and delivering rifles, you'll see people and they go, well, I want to set up my scope and then I'm going to set up my length to pull and stuff like that. We go, no, time out. You want to set up the length to pull, you want to set up the gun to you as if there's no scope on it. Ideally, especially with these 12, 14, 16 pound guns, and especially when you're getting into something other than prone, you're having to build positions, you want that heavier gun, that center of gravity over some bone structure. And just a little bit of length to pull can make a lot of difference on feeling where that gun is front heavy and stuff, and being able to work with it. And so we try to encourage everybody to set their length to pull up and their cheek position and all this kind of stuff relative to their body and their gun. Forget about the scope, and then we'll set the scope up on the rails. With modern scopes, we're so lucky because, if y'all are old enough to remember, in the 70s and stuff, we just didn't have a lot to choose from, and the eye reliefs were critical, and there wasn't no such thing as a good eye box behind them. And these days, you can set up the scopes, and they're very forgiving. And so take advantage of that, and once you set up the gun where you can comfortably run it, and you can run the bolt without moving your face and stuff like that, then set up the gun, the scope back to you. So yeah, and then once you do that, do it on maximum power, because that's the worst eye box you're going to have on a variable power scope. And then anything under that, when you come down off your power, it's even more forgiving. So it's always going to be the best way to set it up.
Terry brought up a good point as far as running the bolt. One of the other things, we talked about proper follow through and staying on the gun. Everybody wants to combat reload their bolt guns and just go really fast. They want to break that shot and just start slinging the bolt back, and they give up on that shot when there's valuable information to pick up. So one of the things we try to do is stay down behind the rifle the whole time through that bolt throw and be able to follow through with that. And we see a lot of people struggle with that. So dry firing is probably one of the best methods of doing that. Is just sitting there running that bolt back to your face and getting used to just staying in it and looking through it and picking up all the information. While you're cycling that bolt, you may see a switch in the wind, you may see anything. So that's more time behind glass to be able to see down range and be able to make an adjustment for the next shot.